Hello and welcome back to another video. Thank you to everybody who has watched my last two videos that I made while I was in Morris, Minnesota, teaching my online painting class in person for a couple days. I'm really happy to be back home after a week away, but I'm a little bit bummed because while I was away in Minnesota, the temperatures here in Wisconsin got up to like 80 degrees, and now it's Monday, the week after being in Minnesota, and the high today is like 36. So I really just missed this super warm week, and there's two reasons why that kind of bums me out a little bit. The first is that I could have done a lot of plein air painting here in Wisconsin. I'm glad I got to do some painting in Minnesota. There's a really big plein air piece that I started like the week before that I left to go to Minnesota, so that would have been something I could have probably finished that week, but it's not a big deal. I'll probably get to that hopefully next week once the weather starts to warm up again here in Wisconsin. The second reason is that when it's nice outside, it's a lot easier to do some woodworking and to start to build some frames for upcoming shows and plein air events. So I'm really lucky to have some space in our garage to do some woodworking, and so far I've been able to start really using that space pretty effectively, and I'm really happy about the setup that's currently in there. There's a couple things that I want to sort of build out for tables and storage and that kind of thing. But I was hoping maybe to get some stuff done this week for woodworking, but that might have to get pushed to the weekend or even next week. I do have a frame that I was working on over the weekend that is already pretty much done for this painting titled Not to Worry. It's a Casein painting on mounted paper that's on a masonite panel that I made. It's 4 inches by 5 inches, and it got accepted into a juried show at a gallery called James May Gallery in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And they actually just recently opened their location in Milwaukee, so I'm really happy that this is going to be exhibited in Milwaukee, because we live 25 or 30 minutes north of the city. But anyway, I'll show you that frame, and I'll just kind of treat this video kind of like an update with a few bits and pieces of some things I'm working on today. And hopefully it's going to be interesting. Thank you again for everybody who's been watching the videos. I hope you're experiencing some nice warm weather too. So here's the frame that I made for the painting. You can see it's not a huge frame. The profile's probably like 3 inches or 2.5 inches past the dimensions of the painting, so it'll be a vertical frame like this. The outer piece is I think it's either elm or maple. I can't remember. I just kind of grabbed it because it was really smooth from some scrap wood I have back in the corner of the garage. And then I sealed it with shellac and painted it with a white enamel paint. And I've done this before with some other frames for plein air events, and I liked the finish and the style. So this was it was a pretty straightforward build since I've done it before. There are a few kind of bumpy spots I'm going to go through with just like some really smooth paper and see if I can kind of burnish them down. I'm a little nervous to sand it because I think on corners like this, it's really easy to take off the paint, and I don't really want to have to keep painting it. So I'm going to start with the paper and just see if that can smooth things out. On another note, I built this box for a gift that I'm going to give to my nephew this weekend, and I'm really excited about this. I don't think my sister and my brother-in-law are really watching my vlogs right now, but if they are, they're going to kind of be spoiled by what I'm showing. But all I'm going to say for now is that it's a box and it's going to be a gift for my nephew. So maybe after the weekend I'll make another video and kind of tell you guys what this was for. But this was kind of a fun little project to do over the weekend too, when it was still nice outside. And actually, I'm learning some new skills for building crates for shipping paintings and storing paintings. So I think I might even try to build out some bigger boxes for storing wet paintings or shipping paintings later this summer when it's nice out again. So the nice thing about painting on these paper panels is that if I'm painting with gouache or casein, which I like to do on paper, I can attach scrap pieces of wood to the back side of the panel, and then my hardware that goes through the frame, because I'll drill a couple of holes on this shelf piece here that will then allow for screws to fix into those scrap pieces on the back of the panel. So I've done this a couple times now, and it's worked out really well for framing. It makes it really easy to swap in and out paintings that are the same size out of different frames. But here's how it looks right now in the frame. You know, I think it turned out really nice. I only have 2 different colors for enamel paint currently, and it's either white or black, so I'm really happy with the white. I was debating for a few days which one to choose. The reason I chose the white is because, as you can see, it's a pretty bright painting. There's not a lot of dark values. It's a pretty high-key painting, and I was worried if I put in the black, it would just seem too bright and kind of washed out. And I wanted the painting to still have some contrast. So the white is going to allow some of the darker values to seem a lot darker than they are when compared to something that is, you know, really, really black or really, really dark. Otherwise, the painting starts to seem a lot lighter. So that was the reason I chose to go with the white. I think it also looks really clean and just very bright overall, obviously. So the next step, as I mentioned in the garage, is to kind of burnish some of the paint on the frame. Anywhere where I see a couple like lumpy spots, I'm going to see if I can smooth that out with just like folded printer paper, or even like white paper that is shipped for like promotional things. Like we'll get coupons and stuff like that in the mail. It's really slick, and that helps to really smooth out the paint. So I'm going to start with something like that. The other thing I'm going to do is start to buff the surface of the painting. So as I mentioned, this is a Casein painting on paper. And since I'm not framing it behind glass, I want to make sure that it has the best possible chance to be archival as possible. So I first sprayed it with a UV matte varnish, which is going to help protect the pigment against fading from the sun. With some of the light fastness of the paint, it'll just sort of prolong the life of the painting if it's sitting in direct sunlight. The other thing is, after that was dry, I put a thin layer of wax medium on the surface, and I did that yesterday in the afternoon. So it's been about a day, and I've allowed that wax to really harden and cure. And now what I'll do is gently buff the surface with a kind of like balled up shopping bag. And I've been using this to do this step for a lot of my gouache paintings, and it works out really well. What will happen is that it'll give the painting kind of like an eggshell satin luster, which I really like. It makes it feel a little bit more finished, in my opinion. I don't necessarily like matte paintings. I like a little bit of glossiness just because it pops the colors a bit better. And I like the way that the light reflects off of the subtle textures that the paintings might have, which there is a little bit of variation in the surface on this painting. So I'm going to do that next and buff the frame, and I think I can start finalizing the painting. I have to drop it off, I want to say sometime this week or next week, so it's coming up soon to drop off the painting. All right, so I just have my phone kind of like propped up on a cup here. So let's see if I can do this without knocking my phone over. I wanted to show you the difference of the surface before and after I buff out the wax medium. So obviously this is before. You can see it's kind of got this waxy, somewhat matte surface. It's not very shiny. And if I ball up the plastic bag and then just gently go through, I like to go in a circular motion here just because I don't want to develop any streaks in the finish of the painting. So you can see there's a little bit of a reflective quality happening in the top right corner. And sometimes what I'll end up doing is I'll go through the whole painting once and I'll let it sit, and then I'll come back in like an hour or a couple hours later and do it again until it starts to develop a surface that I really like. Now, if you're gonna do this, the key is not to push down too hard because you don't wanna break the surface and disrupt the actual paint on the painting. You know, you wanna be really gentle so you're only affecting that wax layer of the painting. So we're starting to build up a little bit of a luster here. It seems like it's happening mostly on the higher peaks of paint. So it's probably going to take a few sessions of this very light, gentle burnishing or buffing. So I'm always checking to make sure I don't have any folds in the plastic. I want this to be pretty evenly stretched, so it's a pretty smooth surface. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here for now for the video. I'll probably show you how it looks after a couple more sessions of the buffing. And then if I don't like what's happening with the plastic bag, sometimes I'll use a dry, clean shop towel because those are really soft. But typically I'll use the plastic because it slides really easily on the surface. And it creates a really smooth kind of compression of that wax. So that's why I've kind of grown to use the plastic bag. And something else I wanted to mention is that this is actually the first time I've ever tried finishing a Casein painting with the varnish spray and then the wax medium combo. I've done that a ton with gouache paintings, and I've had really good results with that. Short-term results. I haven't actually been doing that long enough to really know how it holds up after a couple years, or 3 to 5 years. So as time goes on, I'll kind of keep an eye on this process and just make sure that this is a good method for sealing water-based or water-soluble paint like watercolor, gouache, or Casein. So it's an experiment a little bit, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. When I first sprayed the matte varnish, it kind of clouded the painting a little bit, which I've seen it do that before with gouache, and I was nervous because I was like, maybe this is a Casein thing that's reacting, improperly with the varnish. But then after I let it dry for a couple hours, I came back and the painting looked pretty much exactly how it was before I sprayed it. So that was a really good sign. And now with the wax, overall, it seems to be, pretty clear in terms of the image quality and the color. those are the two big things that I worry about when sealing paintings. I don't want to, sort of hinder or take away from the color properties of the pigment on the surface. So, I'll look at things like the darker values and shadows, like by the hand, and make sure that as I'm buffing, that value that I initially had in the painting is coming back. So that's the goal with this piece. Okay, so I'm down here in the studio, and one of the things I have to do today is send a portfolio of paintings to Levy Contemporary in Princeton, Wisconsin. This is a gallery that I've worked with once in the past, last year for a group show, an invitational show organized by Art Dose Magazine and Levy Contemporary. And they reached out to me at the end of the year, start of 2023, and asked if I would like to participate with them as a partner artist with the gallery, and I accepted the offer. And now we're starting to move forward with some of the details on what paintings that I want to start the conversation with, on what can be shown at the gallery for their season, starting in May through like October, November of this year. But I can just quickly kind of run through some of the paintings that I'm thinking about submitting to them, and then I think we'll start to talk more openly about which ones might be a good fit and which group or collection of work would really fit the gallery's audience well and market well. So we'll see what happens, but these are the pieces that I'm thinking about. And I apologize for the quality of the images on the screen of my computer monitor. I just recently upgraded my home computer system. I used to use this 2009 iMac that I bought used from the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point from their surplus store, and it's starting to kind of crap out on me, so I invested in a Mac Mini, which I've really enjoyed so far. But I'm using this Dell monitor, and the color of the monitor I'm realizing is not good at all. A lot of my files, these are older files that I edited on the Mac, but newer files that I'm trying to edit in Photoshop here, it's really hard to get an accurate look of the color and the values and a lot of those properties of the images. But anyway, this will give you a sense of what I'm thinking about bringing to Levy, or at least showing them. And a lot of these pieces are pretty moderately sized. A lot of them are like 8 by 10 inches. There's a couple that are 11 by 14 or 9 by 12. And then there are a few that are smaller than that too. Like this is 4 by 6 inches. It's gouache on paper panel. This is an 11 by 14 inch piece. It's not quite so warm and saturated. It just appears that way on the screen. But anyway, I think I'll end up probably finding a new monitor sometime this year that is a lot more accurate in terms of the range and color. This is probably the biggest piece. I think this is somewhere around like maybe 28 inches wide by 36 inches tall, somewhere kind of in that range. This one's a really small one. This one's really small, 4 by 6 inches, 11 by 14. This is a more recent series of 6 by 6 inch plein air paintings, all done in the same day. And this is currently the last file. I think I might put a couple more in here, but I just wanted to show you this step in the process and just kind of informally announce that I'll be working with Levy Contemporary this year. So if you're near Princeton, Wisconsin, I hope you'll stop into the gallery sometime this year and check out the work that I'll have. And then if you're not, you can always reach out through their gallery website, and I'm sure there's a way for us to get you some preview images if you'd like to purchase things online too, or over the phone. But anyways, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about Levy Contemporary or the paintings that I'll be bringing there. Another thing that I have to do today is ship out a box of zines, stickers, and some small paintings to head to a artist studio gallery space in North Carolina. So a while back, I was contacted by a friend of mine who I met during my graduate school candidacy. His name is Luis. He's an artist who recently moved to North Carolina, and he's got this new studio space that has a lot of extra room for a possible kind of like rotating kind of gallery space and sort of like art shop. And he contacted me to ask if I'd be interested in selling some of my work in his space. And I, of course, said yes. So I need to first head upstairs and check out some of my smaller paintings that I kind of have just like stored up here on our second floor. And let's see which ones maybe would be good pieces to ship. So one of the things about being a painter and artist in general is that we're constantly trying to figure out ways to store our work. And this is the first place where I've lived where I've had a lot of places to store my paintings. So fortunately, Megan has allowed me to, for now, use some of these different spaces up on the second floor, kind of like in our attic, to store boxes of paintings. So I have a box there. Over on this side of the room, there's a little crawl space with more boxes of paintings. So I'm gonna go through a bunch of these boxes and look for a few pieces that I can ship out to North Carolina. So I had a few paintings in mind that I thought I would ship. This is definitely one of them. Let's see, I think there might be a couple in this box that I was interested in. I think this was another one. So these are both 9 by 12 inches. What else do we have here? I think these were ones I was gonna send to Levy. This one I think was another one I had in mind. I think maybe this one I'll send. This was a gouache painting that I made in grad school. So was this one. It's nice that they match. So that's looking pretty good. There's 5 there. I think I just sent this one to Levy. And now I'm kind of thinking maybe it makes more sense to have it go with the other gouache ones to Luis. What do you think, Lenny? You like this group? Should I send those 6? Yes or no? You make the call. I'm gonna take that as a yes. And now I need to go find a box and probably grab some bubble wrap. Maybe I'll just use the guest bed up here to box things up. So I just grabbed a stack of my zines, my plein air zines. So I have 5 of each year. We'll just start with 5 and see what happens. I also have a stack of these Keep It Up Neighbor prints, these lino block, 2 color relief prints, and then a bunch of stickers. And then I'm also down in the basement looking for bubble wrap, which we have there. And I just want to check to see if I have any cardboard boxes that would maybe fit the paintings upstairs, and it doesn't look like I currently do, because all these boxes are already sort of cut into. What I might end up doing is either using this Chewy box here on the floor or trying to make my own box out of this cardboard that we have laying around. So let me run this stuff upstairs first and wrap up all of the paintings. That way I have a better idea of how much space I'll actually take up and need for the box. Oh, one of the things that's so crazy about being an artist is that so much of your job as an artist is moments like this, where you're just trying to figure out how to get your work out into the world and seen by more people. Oops, I'm starting to drop things. Thankfully, you know, each year it kind of seems like, hang on a second. It's like each year it kind of seems like things get a little bit easier for sharing my work with people. And thankfully, I've met people who are super generous with their spaces, with their time, with their audiences, who want to help me get my work out there. So huge thank you to Luis. I'll put his information down in the caption for the video. Check out all of his artwork. He's killing it right now with his career. And, you know, he's been the same person, you know, since the moment I met him like 3 or 4 years ago. And he is super generous, obviously, super knowledgeable, and just a really good person. So getting a phone call from him, inviting me into his personal art spaces and his community is a really big deal. And I'm really, really grateful that he thought of me for this opportunity. So anyway, yeah, it's just, it's funny. It's kind of fun to make these videos now and to sort of like pull the curtain back and show people what my days are actually like and all the things I'm trying to do. Also, before I forget, you know, for those who don't know, I routered my thumb like a month and a half ago, and it's still healing. So I apologize for the weird thumbnail. But anyways, you know, just to pull back this curtain and show you what it's like for me anyway, all the different things I'm trying to do and balance as an artist. And I love all of that, and it's a lot of fun. But there's a lot of moments too that are just really challenging, and just an experiment to see what works, what doesn't work. So I'm treating a lot of these videos with that sort of mindset of just like, you know, trying to be transparent and show people what I'm doing. And, you know, hopefully it helps to allow for a better connection with the artwork that I make and what you might be seeing online. So anyways, all that to say, thank you for watching, and thanks for tuning into these videos. Let's go ahead and move my camera somewhere. I don't have my tripod up here, so maybe I should actually run down and grab that real quick. I'm just gonna try this Chewy box and see if it'll be big enough. I'll bring it upstairs. I think it's gonna work though. You coming, Lenny? So I met Luis. His last name is Sahagun, Sahagun. He was based in Chicago, I believe, when he applied for a residency program at Michigan State University. And I happened to be on the committee that was looking over the applications with some of the faculty at Michigan State. And he ended up getting selected with another artist for my third and last year of grad school. Hang on a sec. Lenny is chewing his toy. We'll see if we can get it away from him for now, because it is a squeaky toy. I met Luis in grad school, and even though like half of the year almost was cut short because of COVID, we still connected while the fall semester was happening in 2019. So anyway, it's been a couple years since I've really talked to him, and obviously we've kept in touch on Instagram and online. And like I said before, I'm just really grateful that he wants to include me in this new opportunity and new space that he's cultivating in North Carolina, where it sounds like he's only been for a handful of months, but it sounds like he's going to stay there full time for the foreseeable future. And yeah, so the goal today is to, let me switch my camera around here, to box up all of this stuff, hopefully into that Chewy box there. So I'll just quickly show you everything I'm planning to ship out to Luis. I have stickers. I have 25 of each of my 2 stickers that I've made. These are like vinyl, really nice high quality stickers. I sell these for, I want to say they're $3 a piece and then $5 for both. So I'll plan to have the same prices with Luis. I have some of my business cards here. I'm actually running low on business cards. I have to order some new ones here pretty soon, but that way if anybody's interested, they can grab a card. I have the Keep It Up Neighbor lino cut print that I was talking about earlier. One of them is this salmon color, and these all come with a sticker and a certificate of authenticity that's signed. There's 5 of each color, and each color had 15 prints. Will be out there. I think I'm going to price those somewhere around $40 a piece. And then I have my 2 different zines. I have 5 copies of each zine. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, these are pretty thick and heavy zines, so it's going to cost quite a bit to ship all of this stuff. And you know, this is a new thing. I just want to kind of test out the audience there and see if they like any of my stuff. I think 5 is definitely plenty for now. It's nice to see like a little stack of those books. Those are sort of like the reproduction merchandise type stuff that I'll show. And then I have these 6 original paintings here that I was talking about earlier. 3 of them are all gouache on Strathmore River Point paper. That's the paper that was made in Stevens Point where I went to school. So I have these all in handmade frames ready to go. And then 3 oil paintings all on wood. And these were all made around the same time. I really like how these 3 paintings all turned out. They're super vibrant and just really, really rich with color. I was doing a lot of glazing during this time, right after the pandemic kind of was underway. So these were all made in 2021. And it's nice because they all kind of match as a set. So something actually I just found that I forgot about was that I have a bunch of these certificates of authenticity that I had made and printed up to go along with the purchase of any of my paintings. So this is something that I've been trying to get a bit more organized with in the past 2 or 3 years. And I already have, I want to say 5 of the 6 paintings are filled out, and I just have to fill out one for one of the gouache ones. So these will also be going in the shipment too. And then I went and picked up a pad from the studio of newsprint paper that I'm gonna wrap between the paintings and the bubble wrap, because I've heard stories of shipping paintings with bubble wrap and the bubble wrap leaving a pattern on the paintings if it's too hot. Or like I think with varnish sometimes it can kind of stick to the varnish and change the surface quality. So I'm gonna wrap them in newsprint, and that should help protect the paintings. Okay, so box is put together. What I want to do first is just see how much extra space will be in here and if I should actually be using a smaller box, because I feel like it's going to be pretty expensive to ship a box that's this size. And it seems pretty big. I feel like really I only need like this much space, so I'm wondering maybe there's a way I can just cut out part of the box and maybe just kind of have it fold in on itself. So I'm gonna go grab a pair of box cutters and start cutting this down to see if maybe I can make that work somehow. So okay, so I had to actually like tape everything together in the box, but it's pretty strong. I'm really happy with, you know, the fact that I can just upcycle some of these boxes that we get for Lenny's food. And now it's a much better size for
my shipment that I actually have to make later today. So I went ahead and just like taped the bottom a bunch of different directions, and then also taped the inside of the box and put in a little cardboard patch. But like I said, it feels pretty strong. I'm not really too worried about the integrity of the box. And I have a couple extra little scrap pieces of cardboard if I need to reinforce the layering of the paintings in here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start to stack things in and figure out what arrangement makes the most sense. So the nice thing is that those paintings fit pretty snug this direction. I'd like to try to put my zines in. And actually, I might go grab some shopping bags just to wrap some of the paper stuff. This time of year in spring, you never know if like where things are being put down or picked up, if the floor is wet, or if, you know, somebody's sidewalk is wet, or there's still snow. And with cardboard, there's always that risk that whatever's inside the box could get wet. So I'm just gonna pause the video for a second and go grab a bag to wrap some of the paper stuff in real quick. Okay, so I like double bagged these Have a Nice Day grocery bags. Let's go ahead and just put everything in here, especially the zines. I think that's what I'm most worried about, are the zines, the business cards, and the stickers. So I'll put all of those together in the bag. Just because this should help protect in case the box ever leaks or anything. I tried to really tape the inside corners a lot just to help protect the box from getting wet. And just kind of stack some cardboard on here in some areas too. And I also have these, which I'm hoping, it looks like they will fit pretty nicely there. And sometimes what I'll do with extra pieces of cardboard is just kind of like wedge them in a few spots just to add some tension to keep things from sliding around too much. So if we take this, let's close the tape and just kind of fold it a few ways. This can help things from keep things from sliding around. All right, I have 2 more paintings to fit in. This looks like it's the hardest part, is finding a way to make sure that these all will fit together. That one goes there. This one. This way. Okay. Actually, everything fits really nicely. Let me move my camera and show you real quick. So the only thing that I might go grab are some extra like big plastic air pocket like shipping. I don't know what they're called, but they're basically like little balloons. And I've been saving some from other shipments that I've received recently, and I think that would be handy to put in this space here. And then maybe even to find a way to kind of like level out this painting that goes on the top. But the nice thing then is that everything will fit really, really nicely. And I don't have to worry about things flipping over or sliding around. This box is actually working out really perfectly. And it doesn't feel too heavy right now, but size-wise and weight-wise, it still might be $30 or so to ship this. I'm hoping it's not more than that, but you never know. So, okay, let me go grab that stuff and then we'll box it up. I have some of these like styrofoam plastic pieces that I'll bring upstairs and see if maybe these will fit in the box. I thought I had some of those like pouch things. looks like there's some more plastic wrap stuff over here. But yeah, I mean, this kind of stuff, you know, if you're an artist and you're shipping stuff, not only does it save you money in the end to just hang on to stuff like this, but it's good for the environment too, right? We don't have to go out and buy a bunch of plastic every single time we have to ship something. And, you know, making boxes out of shipping Amazon boxes or other packages. Here's a box I made in grad school that I still have. You know, it doesn't really take that long, but you can save some money too, which is nice. So, all right, let's go see if any of this stuff can work. All right, so I apologize in advance for how shaky the video is right now. Let's see. I feel like this piece of styrofoam will work well. Maybe a few of these pouches. Something kind of like that might work. Cool. That looks good. And then actually, I think this can just slide over here. Just gonna keep it in plastic for now. Perfect. Put a few of these in here. It's nice that these just rip. I've never actually done this with pouches before, but they don't actually pop when you rip them apart, which is very handy. That looks pretty good. You know, obviously I want to make this as even as possible, and then maybe I'll just put a couple of those just in case the lid is kind of like, you know, if they stack things on here. The good news is that these aren't the front side of the paintings. The front side is face down. Excuse me, the front side is face down. So if the box does get pushed on a little bit, the artwork isn't really going to be damaged, which is really nice. And actually, before I put everything together, I should double check just to make sure that whatever's on the bottom is like face up, which it is. Okay, good. So the same is true then for the bottom of the box. And then these two are facing each other. So when I wrapped these, I made sure to wrap the excess bubble wrap on the front side. That way it was really easy for me to remember what was the front side of the paintings. Okay. But then, yeah, like I said, these can go in just for extra support here to protect the frames. And maybe I'll fold it this way and then put these over the top. Just plan to close it all up kind of like this. You know, it's not the prettiest box in the world. Maybe I should do it this way, but it definitely is going to work, and it's good to reuse cardboard that's just laying around. So, okay, I'm just going to write a little note on the cover here for Luis, and I'll tape it up and bring it downstairs to put the address on, and we'll take it over to the post office. So one of the tricks I learned when shipping your own artwork like this is if you decide to tape up the corners, which I definitely recommend, it just reinforces the cardboard, is if you make a piece of tape or get a piece of tape that's longer than the height or edge of your box and cut it right along the corner so it lines up with the corner of the box on both sides, hang on one sec. That you can then take one of those sides, fold it down, wrap the rest of the tape over. Oops, didn't actually cut this side. fold this side over, and then you have this little piece that then just wraps around over the other half of the corner. So it ends up being a really nice, clean, but also well reinforced edge or corner to your box. So something I picked up a couple years ago that's been really helpful. Otherwise, everything's in the box. It's all taped up. There's a note inside for Luis. That's pretty much how I ship a lot of my stuff. Occasionally I'll send something in a wooden crate, but that gets pretty expensive too. And you know, this was a lot of like merchandise type stuff, so I felt like it kind of made sense just to try it with a cardboard box. But you know, like I said, the handy thing is that everything is really, really snug in here, so I don't have to worry about things breaking or sliding around. Even when I tip it over, I don't hear anything sliding or moving. So I'm really confident that as long as the box shows up, the artwork is going to be in perfect condition still, and everything should be okay. So it is now, let's see, what time is it? It's about 3:50. I'm going to try to head over to the post office and ship this out today because there is sort of like a First Friday event coming up in May that I think Luis is hoping to have the paintings in town for. So this has to head out of Wisconsin, head to North Carolina, so it can have its North Carolina debut, which is really exciting. Okay, let's go grab a label and we're good to go. Okay, let's bring this downstairs. Try not to fall down the stairs. That's an important step. Oops. I can bring Lenny back inside. It's pretty cold out there. Okay, so I have, just for this exact purpose, I do have some shipping stickers. And if I can remember where they are, I will use them. Are they over here? Well, this is not helpful if I don't know where they are. Oh, there we go. All right, so grab one of these. Make sure that I have a pen. Here we go, this should work. All right, back upstairs. Man, it is cold outside today. Okay, off we go. It's only a couple minutes away, which is really nice, but I don't think I'll film anything in the post office, so I'll just continue the video after I ship it out. So I was like just turning off my street when I remembered that somebody had ordered one of the plein air zines over the weekend. And if I'm going to the post office, I should probably mail out the zine for them. Otherwise, I'll be super annoyed with myself if I just have to go over there tomorrow just for that. Okay, luckily this is pretty quick to do because I've shipped out a bunch of them so far. Which, quick little plug, if you didn't know, I just recently released a self-published book. I'm calling it a zine because the company that prints them calls them zines, but it's a pretty thick, substantial book. It's basically like a journal portfolio with all of my plein air, my 2022 plein air experiences. So there's a bunch of really good reproductions of paintings. I have some stories and process imagery in here. I've been shipping these with the little plastic sealed envelope, just in case it's raining or snowing when this arrives with the collector. And then I usually just stick it in here. These are nice envelopes just because they have a flat rate. And then I fold it over, peel off the sticky tab, press that down, and I do need to go grab my tape because I get a little nervous with the way that these corners not closing all the way. So let's run upstairs really quickly here, grab a Sharpie pen to put the address on. And then I'll also have to check his address. I want to say for sure it's out of state, which is really exciting that this is going to ship out of state. But I'm forgetting right now what state he's in. So, all right, let me do this real quick. Grab our tape. But anyways, yeah, these zines, they're still available. I initially ordered 50 copies, and I want to say I've sold maybe like 28 or 29 of them now. And they're available for $30 right off of my website. And then shipping, I think, is typically like $8 to $10, depending on where you live. But yeah, if you go to acuniaarts.com, ACUNAARTS.com, and you go into my shop, there's a like prints or reproductions category where I'm selling the zines. So check it out if you're interested. Okay, the address is on. This is going out to a gentleman named Ken, who actually lives out in Connecticut, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've ever shipped anything to Connecticut before. So, okay, back in the car, heading to the post office. Hopefully gonna get everything shipped out, no problem. Let's see what happens. Okay, my phone is actually about to die, so hopefully I can record this message. Shipped out everything, was in and out of there within like 4 or 5 minutes, which was really nice because that box is pretty heavy. It was like $31 or $32 to ship it to North Carolina. Luis is in Asheville, so if you're watching this video and you live near Asheville, North Carolina, stop over and find his studio/gallery space that's just now opening. But it sounds like he's participating in some of the local art events, so if you look up the calendar of schedule, type stuff for the local art scene, you should be able to find him and his space. And then I'm assuming we're going to keep things there at least for a couple months. We'll see kind of how it goes. I think we're playing it by ear, but yeah, it was a good trip to the post office. Now I'm stopping at Pick and Save to grab some donuts, I think, as a little reward for me and Megan for finally getting our taxes done. Tomorrow is the deadline for tax day, and we owed a lot. I owed a lot federal-wise, and we have to like mail in our returns and all that stuff with our checks. So we're doing that tonight. That's what the rest of my day looks like. So this is probably going to be a really long video. I'm assuming it might be like 40 minutes or something, maybe longer. So I'm going to end the video here for today. I hope you're enjoying these kind of like rough vlog style videos. So far, it's been really fun for me to make. And, I've been wanting to do stuff like this more and more. The biggest reason I don't do it is because I think I'll tell myself like, oh, I need to have a better computer. I need to have a better camera. I need to like make it really professional. I need to like really figure out what I'm going to say for the video. And I'm realizing like, that's just not who I am. Like I'm a very like improvisational, intuitive artist type person. So this is going to be the style of videos that I'm going to be sharing with people. And hopefully you don't mind if some of them are really long and just kind of crazy and hectic, but that's pretty much my life right now. So, okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. So feel free to leave a comment or a question if you want. And I hope you have a great day. I'll see you maybe in a couple days with another video. So take care.